Hello and welcome to today's episode of HCPTV. Here in the office in Rugby, we are all getting ready and preparing for pilgrimages again this year, both at Easter and at the summer, God willing. And we know that you are all at home wanting to come back to Lourdes, wanting to be part of the pilgrimage experience again, and in your own way preparing either to travel or to join us virtually as well during those events. Today we're continuing our series of talks by group leaders who are sharing their stories and memories and what it means to them to help lead a group for HCPT, whether it be in the summer or at Easter. We know lots of you out there have stories as well, and if you'd like to contribute to a future episode of HCPTV, please follow the instructions that are linked to this video and you'll be able to get in touch with us and we will get back to you and then we'll go from there. So we'd like you to join us and head east to the East End of London and also to East Anglia. We're going to meet Peter and Danielle, two of our group leaders, who are going to share their stories with us and what it means to them to be a leader in HCPT. Peter leads the group 161 from Walthamstow, and he's going to talk to us about some very special moments that he had in Lourdes a few years ago.
There's one girl we took to Lourdes a few years ago now. Her name is, well, I'll call her Mary. And Mary has Down syndrome, and working with her, being her carer for the week, can be hard work. But she is so giving, so joyful, so full of life, so knowing. Her faith is something which has grown. Her family are so engaged. They've been going to Lourdes for years and years as a family. And one day they allowed us the privilege of bringing her, Mary, without the family. And we worried, but we prepared very well for it. One thing about Mary was that she made her first Holy Communion when she was 8. In fact, she made it when my daughter made hers. They were classmates. But when Mary made her first Holy Communion, she didn't consume the host. The way she comes to the world, she just didn't. She would go up to communion like anybody else as a child. And when she got to the minister, she didn't receive. I know her mum very, very well. You get to know people when you work with HCPT. You get to know a lot about other families. And I know her mum has so much faith. And allowing us to bring her daughter was a great sign of that faith. Well, 8 years after making her first Holy Communion, we brought Mary to Lourdes. And one of the first great big events is the Easter Sunday Mass. And we were at Mass, and Mary's helper knew that Mary may not receive Holy Communion or, but to go up for a blessing. And so her helper walked with her to communion, and Mary received the Eucharist. She consumed it. 8 years later, she completed her first Holy Communion. Well, can you imagine the joy, the absolute fervour of smiling and knowing looks and, wow, look what's happened. The minister that gave Mary her communion was a man that I'd worked with for years. His name's Brother Ben. The priest that celebrated that Mass on Easter Sundays, Father Perry, a man that asked me to go to Lourdes for my very first time when I was 20. So many things just colliding together. Michelle, the helper of Mary, it was her first pilgrimage. She didn't know what to expect. Mary received the host. It's a miracle. I'm sorry, it's a miracle. When we got out of Mass and we're sharing this story with each other, we phoned Mary's mum, and we were all breaking down in tears. It was It makes it all worthwhile. It does change people's lives. One girl receiving Holy Communion, impacting on so many others, the young and the old. You know, it's life changing.
Thanks, Peter, and thanks for sharing those stories. We're now going to jump over to meet Danielle, and Danielle has a long history as a member of HCPT, first as a child, a sponsored child coming at Easter, and now as the leader of Group 104 in Cambridge. So let's hear Danielle's journey and her stories of pilgrimage.
Group 104, which is based in Cambridge. My journey to Lourdes and with HCPT has been maybe slightly different to some others. I travelled first in 2007 as a sponsored child as a result of one of the teachers in my school being a group leader and on the lookout for children who deserved a bit of a break. And that year I was lucky enough that was me. Kind of fast forward throughout the week, all the preparation, the week happened, it was fantastic. I don't think I need to spend too much time saying what I got out of it, because we know every year, year on year, how much the children get out of it, but rest assured I was one of them, and I certainly would not be the person I am, the group leader that I am, if it had not been for that week in Lourdes. So Group 204, if you're watching, this is all your fault. So I kind of grew up going as a helper, a young helper first, then a helper. Then I did the youth development programme with HCPT, and I went as a summer deputy group leader. And then, to cut a long story short, I became group leader of 104 in Cambridge. I think this past couple of years has been extremely challenging. I know for me personally, I've never spent, or not that I can really remember anyway, Easter in the UK. I've been to Lourdes 12, 13 times by now. So even just to spend Easter Sunday at home was fantastic. It's great to see family, but it's not the same. It's not turning up to Easter Sunday Mass in Lourdes with a group of children that you don't quite know how they're going to react, and a group of adults that don't quite know what they're doing yet. But every year it comes together in ways that we don't really expect it to. And I think every year we get to the end of the week, just like all the other group leaders, and we think, oh, I don't know if I can do this again. I'm exhausted. That was a hard week. But we do. We always come back. And I feel quite passionately that we will always come back, even if it might look slightly different in future years. I think one story that I would really like to share from my experience anyway, with all of the experiences that I've had growing up in and out of hospital, and generally not having the easiest time of it through school and through certain parts of adult life, I have had some crises of faith quite a lot. I kind of wonder, what is it that I'm doing here? What is it that I believe in? And every time I pray, when I do pray, I'm very thankful for that very first time that I went, because all the other times have been fantastic, but they have been based on that first time. And one of the children that we took quite recently, he does not come from a Catholic background, he doesn't come from a Christian background, but he was just so inquisitive, and every day at dinner, lunch, dinner, he was asking questions that I didn't know how to answer. Why did Jesus die? Why did Jesus say these things? And why did Mary say these things? And I look at the helpers around me and I think, does anyone else know the answer? Can anyone else help me with this? But it was the chaplain that always had time for him and would sit down with him, and they would have these big, long conversations that I didn't think was possible for a kind of 16, 17-year-old, even without learning difficulties, to have with a chaplain at a table. But it was just fantastic, and it just reminded me so much of the curiosity and the joy that I got out of it when I was younger. I think in terms of next year, it will look very different. There's no getting away from that. But something that I think that we all need to keep really close to our hearts is, we're doing this for the helpers. We're doing it for the helpers to allow them to do it for the children. we're doing it for the children, we're doing it for the tens of thousands of children that have been helped and will continue to be helped by HCPT.
Thanks, Danielle, and thank you, Peter, for sharing with us this morning. A bit later in this month, we have the Feast of Our Lady of Lourdes on the 11th of February. And that, if you remember from last year, is when we started something called the HCPT International Day of Prayer. And God willing, we are hoping to be able to do that again with you this year. So we're reaching out to the various international partners around the globe, asking them to join together and help us to pray the Rosary in a variety of languages, similar to what we did last year. There will also be other events taking place throughout the day, including, if we're able, some live broadcasts from Lourdes as well. So please keep an eye on all of our social media for any updates coming up for that leading up to the 11th of February. We still need to hear from you with your stories and ideas, so please give us a call in the office. You can phone us now on the old HCPT office phone line. We have a new phone system, and you will be able to speak to us as we are returning back to the office more and more. Every day there is somebody here to welcome and look after your calls or your queries. Or email us or message us online, and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. So it just remains for me to again thank everybody for contributing to the various episodes of HCPTV, to stay safe and to look after each other and to follow the guidance, whatever it is, wherever you are around the world. And we ask the prayers of Our Lady and Saint Bernadette to pray for us as we continue to journey through these difficult times. So I look forward to seeing you all in a few weeks' time. So from me, goodbye.